Hello, welcome to this overview of business planning as presented by ESS BIZTOOLS and is part of the business planning product package. Why plan? Business plans for businesses are basically the same as maps for tourists. If you don't know where you're going to go or where you're planning to go, how are you going to know when you get there? And one of the very important parts of this overall process is to be able to determine where you are as compared to what your original plan said you would be at by this stage. So that if there is a need for remedial action to be taken, the business management can determine what that remedial action might be and then go about implementing those changes to their business operations. Starting a plan is always an interesting project, so let's look at what you might need to be thinking about if you're going to start a business plan. This is a document that's contained within the product package that summarizes what the business or strategic planning process is. In some instances, an accountant or a business advisor might be commissioned to just prepare a standalone business plan. But in other instances, there may be a number of other people who are going to be involved in part of the process, either at the beginning, such as undertaking market research or export market research, or at some other stage of the process. Perhaps they'll be expressing a particular opinion, such as an expert opinion on a product or service. So this form summarizes that process so that you can be aware of how everything fits together in this overall scheme of things. To assist you to work in conjunction with your client, we have prepared various templates to assist the client to obtain quotations from some of these other experts that they might need to commission to undertake some of the work. And we're going to have a look at a couple of those now. If your client wishes to go to an export market, there is normally a requirement, if you're going to prepare an appropriate business plan, for an export market report to be prepared. This is the template that we would suggest that you submit to your client and suggest that the client would send it to the consultants that have been selected to provide the export market report. So we've identified activity milestones. Obviously, you can edit these. Completion date, final document, and what's to be included in the quotation process. So that form's included, and similar forms are included for other activities. And one of them is the market research or validation process to be undertaken by a market expert. So then we get to the specific requirements. What information is required from this expert? What are the milestones? What's the completion date? How many copies of the final document? In what format does your client require the final document to be submitted? And their quotation. Another very important area is to clearly identify at the beginning of a business planning process with your client what information you require from the client. We have a form which we have prepared, which is available for you as a subscriber to send to your client, and it identifies the key information that's required. It's a checklist, so that you make sure you don't forget something and think about it halfway through the process. It's very annoying when that happens. Some clients get a bit upset. It's far better to give them the list of what's going to be required from them at the very beginning. So that's a form that can assist you in that process. Business planning questionnaires are the nerve center of being able to prepare a business plan. It's not a matter of just saying we're going to do the same as we did last year, or we're basically just going to update last year's business plan. Business planning is very important. And I believe you need to utilize business plan questionnaires to enable you to really get to the inner sanctum within this business to clearly understand how it functions if you are going to prepare an effective business or strategic plan for this business. Within our system, we have a master index of the business plans, and we have allocated these business plan questionnaires into various industry categories: food, retail, manufacturing, trades, professionals, other retail, new technology businesses, hotels, motels, tourism, private schools, wholesalers, farming, exporters or importers. That would take in thousands of different businesses that are operating. And then we have listed on the left-hand side here the questionnaires that we have prepared, and we're going to show you a couple of those in a moment. And then the ticks indicate which questionnaires are included in which category. You'll notice a lot of the questionnaires are included in each category because every business has a lot of these issues to at least think about in the business planning preparation process. So here's more of the individual business plans. There's 44 of these through to a SWOT analysis. In a webinar, it's far easier to demonstrate this material by showing you what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to bring up some of these individual business plan questionnaires so that you can review them. The first one is the review of the business. We have an index, the business name prepared on the period of the plan. And this is a questionnaire for the client to answer, or perhaps you to sit with the client and work your way through them with them so that you get their feedback. What differentiates the business? Are you planning to sell the business? Does your business need new branches? Are you considering franchises? Who's your market? What share of the market do you have? How are you different from your competitors? Who are your customers? And so on. Very important information for the person preparing the business plan to know about this particular business. And then based on the responses you get, you will then be able to frame the information that you're going to include in the business plan, which would then be submitted back to the team for review and discussion. Because at the end of this process, the team within a business has to own the business plan. Otherwise, it's virtually a waste of time preparing it in the first place. Team members, systems, accounting. So there's a number of issues there that are covered in that process. The next one we're going to look at is the business objectives. What are the objectives for this business? I always start with sales and profitability, but also their debt position, their market position. What do they want to achieve? Are there any objectives relative to selling the business, acquiring another business, retirement, franchising? Just to give you the feel for what the client is really thinking. And by utilizing these questionnaires, you're not relying on memory. You're able to work through them. What about the industry and the market that this particular business operates in? How big is it? Has there been any focus groups that your client's been involved in? How old is the industry? Currently, of course, there's a lot of new industries in the world. Social media was unheard of 15 years ago. What's the next new industry that's going to emerge? They seem to be emerging every week. Someone might say every day. So what's the chief characteristics of the industry that your client's in? Are there barriers to entry? Do people need licenses? Or is it just anyone that wants to start a business in that industry can do so? What research has been conducted? Has this client of yours developed channel partners or distribution partners? How are they going to sell their product? How are they going to distribute it? How are they going to market it? Have they looked at the Australian Bureau of Statistics data? A lot of that's available free. All they've got to do is log on to the ABS website to get it. And very importantly, who are the customers? You'll see here that there is links to other articles on customers, on service, on databases, on knowledge and service. How many customers does this business have? What's the value of the annual sales? What's the average sale? Who are your customers? What are their profiles? Do they know anything about them? What percentage of the customers would make up 80% of the business? Do the customers like the products? What's their profile? Does your client talk to their customers? And so on. So you've got that material that will assist you in the planning process, because these are the questionnaires that you can utilize to formulate the final business plan. So let's now go to the business planning process. Our recommendation to every firm that we deal with is that there should be a think tank meeting. Now, think tank meetings could be 1, 2, or even 3 days. In some cases, they take the form of a remote planning workshop. Our recommendation is every one of these meetings or workshops should have an agenda so that everyone knows what's still to come, what's going to be discussed. And in lots of ways, the agenda mirrors the questionnaires, because you will want to discuss each of the 44 questionnaires to get a feel from the attendees as to what they believe needs to be done within this business. Who should attend a think tank meeting? Interesting question. I think all of the team should participate in at least part of a think tank meeting. The whole team might be there for a couple of hours. But I've conducted a number of business planning assignments where the whole team has attended the entire think tank meeting. Been some interesting questions posed in that think tank meeting when the whole team's present. So your clients need to be prepared to accept those sorts of questions and to have answers ready. So that's a suggested agenda for a think tank meeting. Obviously, if there are particular issues within this business, you would edit that document so that you could cover the particular matters that are to be discussed. In most business planning assignments, our recommendation is that at least some of the staff are interviewed. So we have a suggested staff interview form that you could utilize. Are the staff happy with the customer service? What changes do they think could be made? What are the strengths of the businesses? What are the weaknesses of the business? What would they do if they were the boss? for a few days? Always an interesting question. Customer survey form. Not every client will want a customer survey form to be sent out to your clients' customers, but the form's included. In some instances, I've undertaken actual meetings with a group of the customers to get their feedback as to what they think about the client's products and services. You will need to discuss this with your client. But what I'm highlighting to you here now is a customer survey form that you could utilize for some one-on-one discussions with some key customers. Why not interview a large customer, a medium-sized customer, and a small customer to get their input as to what they think about this business. So they're the forms. There are a lot more, of course, within the overall package that we believe that if you utilize, because you become a subscriber to the ESS BIZTOOLS Business Planning Product Package, that you will be able to produce outstanding business or strategic plans to assist your clients to add value to their businesses. Have a great day. Goodbye.